Charlize Theron is Hollywood royalty, but she had to go through a lot of trauma to get there. From watching her mother kill her father to watching directors force Charlize and Angelina Jolie to compete for roles. Believe it or not, Charlize has never really had it easy. She grew up in South Africa with rotten teeth and a complicated family dynamic. But when she made it to LA, things got even worse. She was greeted by creepy producers and told that she would never be enough. This is Charlize Theron's story, so let's get into it. Charlize Theron is an incredibly successful and established actress, but it took a long road to get here. I think that she has one of the most tragic childhoods in Hollywood. She grew up really sick and eventually watched her mother kill her own father. I just don't even think I could be here if I had that kind of trauma watching my mom shoot my father. But Charlize survived, and today we're doing a deep dive into her life. So to tell this story, let's start from the beginning. Charlize has said that my early childhood was quite devastating because she was so sick. She said that she had no teeth until she was 11 years old. That must be so awkward to be like 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, a 10-year-old without any teeth. My heart goes out to any of those kids that are struggling with illnesses like this. She had jaundice when she was a kid and was put on so many antibiotics that her teeth rotted out of her head. She clarified that she had to cut them out so she never had milk teeth. She said, quote, "That was tough, being in a school and having photos taken while I was pretending to have teeth. It was hideous." Charlize is such a beautiful woman. I can't imagine her as an 11-year-old without any teeth. That probably gives so many kids hope one day that they could be like a Charlize. But here is a clip of her talking a little bit about her childhood.
The first 8 years of my life, I didn't have front teeth. I was pretty sick as an infant, so I was on a lot of antibiotics.
So jaundice was a struggle for Charlize, but it wasn't her biggest problem. That was her father. Now his name is Charles Jacobus Theron. He was a big-bellied man who would subject both Charlize and her mother to horrible abuse after drinking. Charlize said that her father Charles could be very serious, but loved to laugh as well and enjoyed life. He also had a disease. He was an alcoholic. And it looks like his alcoholism led to an incident in June 1991 that would change their lives forever. So what happened was that Charles was out drinking with his brother, and they decided to go back to Charlize's family home. It looks like Charlize's aunt knew that they were really drunk and they were headed there, so they actually got a call from the aunt before her dad came there to give her a warning that he would be arriving. Charlize knew to expect the worst. She said, "Nature gives you instinct, and I knew something bad was going to happen." She knew that Charles was agitated that night. He had his brother as backup, and it looks like Charlize and her mother Greta feared for their lives.
Father was an alcoholic. He was really sick, and this was at a time when there was no AA in South Africa. Nobody knew, in South African culture, it's just like what a man does. And I'm so proud of the fact
Just what a man does in South African culture?
that my kids live in a home where they feel safe and they feel like they're never gonna have to walk on eggshells and they're never gonna have to come down and worry about how their day is gonna go.
Good for Charlize for breaking that generational curse and giving her children a healthy household. But there were a lot of people who were upset by her comment that this is like South African culture. And maybe this is just Charlize's way of coming to terms with why her father was such a sick man, kind of blaming South Africa. Now, I want to talk about what happened when Charles got to that home in 1991. Because not only was he shot and killed, but also Charlize and her mother were shot at. Let's just take a minute to pause. Could you imagine your own father shooting at you? I could not imagine. I would be so traumatized. There's a reason why Hollywood stars always seem to walk away from scandals untouched. Just like there's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury firm. Most regular people, including me, don't have a legal army behind them. And if you're injured in an accident, insurance companies try their best to pay you as little as possible. That is where Morgan & Morgan comes in. With over 1,000 attorneys and 100 offices across the country, they are built to fight for regular people, not corporations. In Florida, a client was offered $350,000 by an insurance company. Morgan & Morgan stepped in and got them $12 million. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome, but these stories are what they do every day. And it's easier than ever. You don't have to deal with those piles of paperwork. You also don't have to pay anything up front. You can even start your claim right now within minutes by using your phone. You can get started by scanning the QR code on the screen using your phone's camera. Remember, the fee is free unless they win. If you ever find yourself injured, then check out Morgan & Morgan. Again, you can start your claim today by scanning the QR code or visiting the link in my description below. It's fast, it's simple, and it could change everything. Charlize said it was a miracle that she and her mother survived when her alcoholic father, Charles, opened fire on them through a door in a room that they were hiding in. She was only 15 years old when her dad decided to shoot through the door at her and her mother, Greta. Charlize said that none of the bullets that he shot through the door actually hit them, which is a miracle because they were holding up the door together to keep him out. So if you're like putting all your body weight onto this door, you would think like if you're gonna shoot at it, you probably would hit someone, but neither of them got hit. Thank God. Charlize claims that her father was so drunk that night that he shouldn't have been able to even walk into the home with the gun because he was so plastered. It makes me wonder what his last moments were like. Like if you're so drunk, you're blackout drunk, I guess you just don't even like remember dying, but it looks like Greta and little Charlize, 15-year-old Charlize, were in her bedroom leaning against the door because he was trying to push through. She claims that Charles took a step back and just shot through the door 3 times. None of those bullets ever hit them, which was a miracle. And I don't know when Charlize's mother, Greta, got a gun. I don't know if she had the gun on her, but she decided to shoot back in self-defense. Charlize said, "I'm not ashamed to talk about it because I do think that the more we talk about these things, the more we realize that we're not alone in any of it." She says her father was a very sick man and it was a pretty hopeless situation. So probably no getting better. It's like either some of us are going to die or he's just going to die. I don't know. It sounds kind of sad that there weren't resources out there to go and protect Charlize or her mother from this kind of behavior. Greta, Charlize's mother, wasn't ever prosecuted for shooting her father. So the Attorney General in South Africa ruled that Greta had no choice but to fatally wound Charles, because if she didn't kill him, he was going to kill both Charlize and Greta. But the Attorney General didn't go easy on the Theron family. It's not like they met up with Greta and said, hey, you're okay, move along. There was a long investigation into this crime in which Greta told Charlize to get out of here. Go and find a life of your own. Charlize said, for my mother to say, go and make something of your life. Go, do something. That was an extremely brave thing for her to do. Those are sacrifices, that I think you do for your children. And she always did that. She always put me first. Now, Charlize was not always honest about her father's passing. When she did interviews about her dad's death, she would actually tell people that he died in a car accident, just to avoid some of those awkward questions. Now, it wasn't just smooth sailing from this point on, because it looks like other members of the family started to call out Charlize's mother for possibly lying. In 2008, a true crime writer named Chris stirred controversy with a book titled Killer Woman: Fatal South African Females. And in this book, Greta may not have told the full truth about the 1991 night that she killed her husband. Chris claims that Charlize Theron's original police statement mysteriously vanished after she won her Oscar, only resurfacing when he investigated. Now, the book included family interviews, which also shed light onto Charlize's aunt, Elsa Milan. She insisted that Charles was a benign, mild-mannered man, devoted to his wife and his daughter, not the abusive drunk that he was portrayed as. Aunt Elsa hinted that Greta was the difficult one in the marriage, saying that Charles loved his drink but was never seen drunk, while Greta could be testy and grumpy. So it looks like Aunt Elsa is coming into this story and saying, hey, hold up, this is not the Charles man that we all know and love. Greta, you're the problem. Despite Aunt Elsa trying to ruffle feathers, it really never went anywhere, and Charlize went into Hollywood and started to build a name for herself. Now, Charlize originally dreamed of being a dancer, not an actress. She started to model at age 16 to pay for ballet training in New York, but her knees became injured and it ended her dance career, leaving her in a depression. This injury is ultimately what led her into acting and eventually making it in Hollywood.
You are from South Africa.
I was raised in Afrikaans. In the community that I lived in, nobody spoke English, so I never really got to speak English until I left the country.
I've never found you to have any trace of an accent. How did you learn English so well?
something happens to you when somebody says you're not going to get a job till you lose the accent. You know, immediately you're like, I need to do something. And back then, you know, I had about $5 a day, and I couldn't afford a dialect coach. So I would watch television, American television, 24/7. So I didn't have to break an already existing foundation. So it was easier for me. You know, I didn't really have to reteach myself an accent. I really kind of learned English like an American at around 19.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit about Charlize's feuds within Hollywood, but before we get there, I want to talk about two other traumatic moments. Like when she almost got paralyzed filming a movie, Aeon Flux, in 2004, she did a backflip stunt that went wrong, damaging a disc near her spinal cord and halting production for 8 weeks, which is so scary to think about because the doctors told Charlize, like, I don't know if you're going to be able to walk after this. So her whole career was in jeopardy. Now, like many actresses in Hollywood, Charlize has also been put in compromising situations. Charlize claims that she blamed herself when she went through sexual harassment at the hands of a director 25 years ago. This was in 1994 when she showed up to the director's home for an audition. When she arrived, he was dressed in his pajamas. During her time there, he touched her leg before apologizing and she left. Charlize claims that she spent a lot of time blaming herself for the encounter because she didn't think that she had done enough to stop him. Now, there have been way worse stories in Hollywood. I don't want to discount what Charlize has gone through, but at least that's the extent of it from what I can tell in my research. But now it's time to switch gears and talk about some of the feuds that Charlize has been through. Like her relationship with Sean Penn was bizarre. In 2013, these two got together, and as early as June 2014, they were planning to get married and adopt a child from Africa. Of course, none of that happened, but that same year in 2014, it looks like Sean Penn actually asked Charlize to go and marry him. By February 2015, Sean was referring to Charlize as the love of his life. A few months later, she was saying the same thing about him. So what could have gone wrong with this love story? Well, it looks like about a month and a half after Charlize Theron's public display of love and affection for Sean went public, their relationship completely stopped. Because of their relationship's abrupt ending, the tabloids were working overtime to try to figure out what caused the split. Us Weekly claimed that Charlize essentially ghosted Sean Penn at the Cannes Film Festival in 2015. She wasn't responding to his calls and his texts. One source claims that Charlize just cut it off. When she finally broke her silence on the breakup, Charlize claimed that all those reports were a bunch of hooey. Quote, when you leave a relationship, there has to be some effing crazy story or some crazy drama. And the effing ghosting thing, like literally, I still don't even know what it is because people were claiming that she's like a gaslighter, ghoster. Sean said, we were in a relationship and it didn't work out. We both decided to separate. That is it. So we did not get any details on why they broke up, but to go from like confessing your love to ghosting someone, something happened. I wish I knew. But another feud that Charlize has had in Hollywood is against Angelina Jolie. That is someone I would not want to have beef with. We all know Angelina Jolie has had her feuds, whether it's Jennifer Aniston or somebody else. But when it comes to Charlize, it's not involved with love. I mean, we know the Jennifer Aniston, Brad Pitt thing was like a relationship triangle. But Charlize and Angelina did not beef because of that. They beefed because of movie roles that Angelina would get or Charlize would want. Reports claimed that the actresses butted heads after they were both eyed for major parts in The Bride of Frankenstein and Murder on Orient Express. According to insiders, directors even fanned the flames by dangling scripts in front of both women, letting them battle it out. One source described it as a hate fest that started a long time ago and will not stop. A source told Radar it's as though directors were getting a buzz out of playing them against each other by dangling a script to both of them and leaving them to bitch and slug it out. Now, Charlize has been confronted about her feud with Angelina Jolie. Let's go ahead and take a look at what she had to say.
Was ever any actual beef between Charlize and Angelina Jolie, or if this was a classic case of the media pitting two people against each other?
Yeah.
Her face there, I'm like, you could tell there's some beef.
That was
100%. I don't know her very well. I know her from events.
Yeah.
But always so lovely. We really don't know each other. We're not friends or hang out, but she's never been nothing but gracious and lovely and warm.
Comment below. Do you guys think that Angelina and Charlize have a little bit of a feud? I feel like Angelina is just like that girl, so everyone in Hollywood doesn't like her. But let's talk about Tia Mowry because she had an interesting interaction with Charlize that actually kind of reminds me of my experience with Charlize because she goes to the same gym, like a celebrity gym I would go to. I might go back there again, but she would work out there and I mean, I would tell her if I mean, she would never look at, she's like that person that kind of looks past you. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't look at you, she looks through you. When I saw her at the gym, she was just complaining about being too thin, which, I get that. But this article reports that memo to those who take a Soul Cycle spin class with Charlize Theron, you probably shouldn't approach her. Tia said that she wasn't really nice to me. I said hi, and she actually rolled her eyes and said, "Oh my God." Which is literally, from my personal experience, being in the same room, a gym. It's a very small gym too. Like it's like probably the size of my apartment. But I believe Tia here. Tia said, "It wasn't like over the top. I know how to approach another celebrity. Charlize was just mean. I'm just being honest." This led to In Touch to investigate the matter, which they uncovered that Charlize had allegedly switched gyms but was acting like a diva at her new location. Wait. Are they talking about me? What I've said? I'm just kidding. But she always arrives late to class so I don't go to a workout class. Where I go, she has like her own trainer that she brings in. But she always arrives late to class with a scowl on her face and has the nerve to ask people who are already settled on their bikes to switch. She always causes a scene. People know to steer clear of her. So Charlize may not be the nicest. I mean, she's had a tough life, but she also may have an anger issue. Terry Hatcher claims that she was punched by Charlize Theron. Charlize said that the fight was between me and Terry Hatcher. I hit her really bad. I think she was bruised. Ugh, I would not proudly say that. Charlize said, "Back then, I didn't know how to hone in my energy." So in 1996, I was knocking over lights. I had no concept of a set. I connected right with Terry Hatcher's face. I felt terrible about it. I had no money, and I sent her some cheap beer the next day to say sorry. Now, this was actually part of a scene of a movie that these two were in. Let's go ahead and take a look at this moment. Wait. So you could tell that she's clearly not hitting Charlize. Look at them get at it. Comment below if you guys have seen that film, 2 Days in the Valley. But I want to talk about the moment when Charlize was sued for $28 million for breach of contract after she allegedly wore a watch by Christian Dior to an event where she was contractually obligated to wear watches designed by Swiss watchmaker Raymond Well. The lawsuit claims that Charlize wore a necklace for a charity ad that she allegedly agreed that she would not promote jewelry or other watches. So this is kind of like one of those situations when a brand pays a celebrity to wear their materials, and if they don't, I guess it's a breach of contract. Charlize nowadays has been pretty chaotic. She went on to the Call Her Daddy podcast and boasted about the fact that she had recently hooked up with a 26-year-old. Honestly, I'm not too concerned about this. She's 49 years old. If she's hooking up with a 26-year-old, he's more than capable of making decisions on his own. If he was like, brand new 18 years old, like his birthday was yesterday and Charlize was hopping on top of it, I would be a little bit more concerned. I don't know. I need you guys to comment below. I mean, I don't like a 44-year-old woman and a 20. I mean, that is legal, right? So it shouldn't be a problem. Maybe a little cringe how she's talking about it.
I've probably had 3 one-night stands in my entire life.
Okay.
But I did just recently a 26-year-old, and it was really amazing. Yes, and I've never done that. And I was like, oh, this is great. Okay.
Let me just say that 26-year-old is the luckiest man walking on this planet. He's walking different today, knowing, oh my God.
He for sure is not, but thank you.
Also, though, wait. I just thought to myself, like, what if a 44-year-old man was sitting here just being like, I just effed a 26-year-old, blah, blah, blah. I do think that people would receive it differently. They would. Comment below. Like, tell me the truth. I think they would. She didn't share any information about the 26-year-old. We don't know who he is. He's just, I guess, roaming the streets of LA with a limp. If you see him around. This comment reads that Charlize should have kept that to herself. Here we go again. She's promoting a movie, so she needs to say something for shock value to get women to go watch her movie because she had sex with a young man. Another person writes, imagine if a guy her age said this. Then finally, it's sad what is happening to her. Am I in the wrong? I don't know. I'm not like... It's weird. It is weird. I don't like it, but I'm not... Yeah, I don't know. I don't love to hear... I don't like to imagine it. Like, Charlize is beautiful, but she does not give me sexy vibes. I don't know why. Maybe, well, I mean, I'm a gay man. I mean, she's clearly a beautiful woman, but I can't imagine that. But, yeah. I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Not me all, like, bothered by this. I just, I usually know what I like to, my takes, but I don't really... Good for you, Charlize. Or grow up. No, I don't know. I'm just kidding. But we are at the end of the video. So thank you guys for taking a little time out of your day to spend it with me. It means the world to me. And I will see you guys in a new video soon, within the next 24 hours, because I post every day. Let me know if you guys still love the daily uploads and what you guys want me to talk about in my next video. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.